Okay, so we got a new Stryker 655 here. Don't get to do too many of these, but this is the radio here. This one's going to Missouri, I believe. Let me check on that really quick and just make sure. Iowa. I'm misspoken. Iowa. So I don't know the customer's name because the order came through with just an email. So it starts with a V and it's a @gmail.com customer. So that's what it says. I see the word Steve in there, so we'll say V. I'm not going to say the rest of their email, steve@gmail.com. So if that's you, this is your radio going to your P.O. box in Iowa. So I've done the Mars. You can see that is right there. And I'm in the VFO option. And we can see I have this set to 1 megahertz just to show you that it will go everywhere. So I prefer this way to use the radio. You might say, well, why does it have a a course on here? Well, that's for using certain features of the radio, I guess, even though it doesn't have sideband. So it's kind of interesting, but in this situation, the RX tone controls the somewhat of like the VFO setting. So I've never really played with one of these on the VFO before. This is kind of interesting here too. I think if you go like this, does it give you a different? No. It's kind of different the way this one's designed. Channel selector 1 megahertz. I'm going to switch that now to 5K. And is that all it really gives you? Yeah, I guess that's all it really gives you. So you can go 5K up. So it's kind of different in that regard. You don't have to use the VFO mode, though. You can go like this, and now it's in the channelized mode. We have 40 channel banks like this. So you don't get the amateur radio, but I think if you go like this, what it does is switch from that to that. Yeah, now you can still use your amateur radio bands like that. So E becomes J, and so on and so forth. So that's how that works. For anyone that's interested, it's not really very useful except maybe on 10 meter FM or AM. So, that's kind of how that works. So just want to make sure that, we understand what we're getting here. So we'll go back and switch this back to A and E. Just run through the menu really quick and just show some of the differences in this radio. Obviously you have an auto squelch feature if that's something you want to use for FM. Timeout timer, all this stuff is normal stuff. SWR and DC protection. You can program your name into the LCD. Transmit, I'm going to set that to 3K. Same with I guess it doesn't have, the receive one is actually on the outside. So mic type, dynamic, that's okay. Compander, that's used for FM. Noise gate, it does have a noise gate on it for taking out background noise. It doesn't have RX noise reduction. So I remember when they first started making this is the version 2 of the 655. It did have noise reduction. I don't know why they switched it, but they did. So, but I do remember when they first came out. So, you have all the things you could possibly want on here, and then some. It just doesn't do sideband. So this is your you can go like 5kc up or down kind of thing, and then this is your RX tone, which kind of changes the incoming sound, more trebly here, more bassy here. So that's up to you on what you want to use for it. Not really too complicated of radio here. You have the program feature. This is for using like repeaters and stuff here, the codes and stuff. So tone squelch. I mean, you can use this as a dedicated FM repeater radio for 10 meters if that's what you wanted to do. You did buy it with the Mars conversion, so I'm just going to assume that you're going to use it for other purposes. I'm not really sure, but regardless of that, I'm always using these radios here on a dummy load. I don't generally transmit on them. So we'll just be sure that we stay on the dummy load, and we'll get this one aligned for you. I'll do a couple things on the PC programming, and I might have to download the software. I think I still have it though. And then I'll get it on your way tomorrow. Okay, so I'm just reading from the radio, making sure what the radio is sending me is going to be correct. These don't come with a PC programming cable, so just keep that in mind. It's not something that they supply with this one. If you have another radio, most likely a lot of people do, you could use that cable with it if you have one that's programmable like this on the back with a little plug. So most guys have them. So now I'm just sending back to the radio, so it'll probably change orange. If you don't like it, you got the color button there, you can change it. I gave you a custom Roger beep. It'll be in position number 6. And I set the SWR protection to 3.0. And that's basically it. Everything else was looking good as far as I could see. So as soon as that comes back, the radio will probably tell me it's done. Yep. Power off, power back on. That's in the orange setup. So if you wanted to use that beep, you'd go here to RB, hit the function button, and now you have 6. So now if we leave that there and we go here to monitor function, should be able to hear it. Let me find a microphone. So that's what that sounds like. Just a little subtle beep for anyone that cares. When you're done, you have to switch it over to R and B. If you switch it off, then it just stays off. You know, it'll be there if you were to switch that on. You can decide whether you want to run a beep or not. So that's pretty simple. Again, this will give you 5K up and down kind of thing. So there's a 10K jump there. So some basic stuff. You can run the noise blanker A&L Plus. That's what I would recommend. You can also do a high cut if that's something that you're into. I would also recommend probably dimming down the display to somewhere like that, just for longevity purposes. You know, that's up to you how you want to run things. Echo is pretty self-explanatory on this one. You don't have to turn a switch, you just turn it on and adjust it. So it's kind of cool in that regard for that. So let's see. Jack, well, I guess we need some talkback.
Check, 1, 2.
A little bit of reverb there, so let's turn that up some. Just kind of playing around with it.
1, 1, 2, check, check, 1, 2. Hello, hello, radio. Check, 1, 2.
So, pretty decent sound there. Echo's now off. So yeah, all in all, it's a nice radio for someone that doesn't want the sideband option but loves the look of this radio. So I kind of like it myself, just for a more basic radio. I'm going to get this set up now for the alignment, so just give me 1 second to bring that up. And the radio should switch automatically here in a second. There it goes. So we'll just get it set up for you. Doesn't take too long or anything. Just kind of go through it. Frequency, let's check the frequency on it. So let's wake this up. There we go. These should be spot on frequency. It's a good board, very stable board. So yeah, it's looking awesome there. So that's 500 hertz span, so there's 1 kilohertz. So not much I can do to improve that. I'm going to leave it exactly how it is. So good job there. This comes from a very good factory. So FM power, I'm going to give you 50. A lot of the basics are the same for the 955 here, just the only difference is this doesn't have SSB. So and then FM low power be 1. If you don't need SSB, then I would recommend, you know, not spending the extra money on the 955 if you have no desire to ever run SSB. So that's my take on that. I tend to like SSB, but not so much anymore on CB. It's just kind of gotten ruined, I think. In general, just there's so many good operators out there, but there's so many poor operators out there that just kind of they've ruined the fun for me when it comes to that. So I don't go to the upper bands or any of that stuff. So some of you guys might do that. That's up to you what you want to do. But if I'm going to go away from channels 1 through 40, I'm going to HF and use my license. I'm not going to go to the other frequencies and do all that stuff. It just doesn't pertain to me. To each his own on what they want to do in the hobby, but we got to correct that problem. The talkback was on when I went into the service, and I think it's going to stay on. I cannot do this kind of stuff with that going. Yeah, that's another point there. If you have talkback on and you go into service, it's going to stay on, and that's really annoying. So definitely don't do what I just did. Okay, there's 4.1. Came in pretty good already, but just a little improvement there for your 10 meter FM. I'll go to AM. And work our way through this, and then it's basically done because this doesn't have SSB, so it's a really quick one here. Do the power first. I want about 8. Maybe I don't know, maybe I'll sell my 497 that I have that I kept for myself, and maybe I'll go with one of these. I kind of prefer this style a little more. I'm just real picky about stuff when it comes to the frequency. And the last customer that I sent out the 497, I did go back through before I was done, and I did realign the frequency for you one last time, so that way you know that I did touch it again. So I've just become accustomed to running these kind of radios now, and it's really hard to run, radios that don't properly just stay on the frequency that they're supposed to immediately. As an operator, I've just grown accustomed to that, so it's hard to move away from that now with all these newer style radios. So here's your AM mod, so it's obviously low, as we can see there. So of course, with anything, when it comes to reception, if you don't like sometimes some of the noise that these radios pick up, and all radios, you can always get like an external DSP filtering device of some sort, and you can filter your incoming sound that way too. You can't always depend on a radio to do everything for you. So sometimes there's aftermarket things that you can buy, and you can kind of critique things a little bit more, as they say, to maybe what you want to make things sound like. I have I'm not sure where it is right now. I have one off to the side somewhere. I haven't been using it lately, but my SDR radio, I don't need it, but some of my other radios I do sometimes bust it out and hook a speaker up to it and do it that way. Okay, there's 96% there. That's about where I like to put them. So, see, it looks really nice. It's not all pinched in the middle. It's nice and round. And sorry about the Silver Eagle in the way. So it looks really good there too. So that's pretty much it. There's nothing else to do after that. So eventually I'll put your cover back on when I get it ready to ship off to you. But let's get out of this. Come back here, plug in a microphone, put this in peak, and see how we did. So again, this is about a 60 watt radio, so you know the realistic power of this radio is 60 watts. And see how we did here. 1 2 3 4 5, check 1 2, 1 2 3 4 5, check 1 2. So I think we did good. And obviously out of the box the radio will do the rated power. That's to be expected, but as far as how we're looking on the spectrum analyzer, we're looking really nice there. And I'm sure it's going to sound really good on the air. These always do. The audio out of these radios is fantastic. Any of these kind of boarded radios are superb audio. So the one thing you'll notice here is, again, with this radio, you're not doing over 80 watts, so that's just an adjustment that they don't give you a way to calibrate that. So if they did, I would change it. But just keep in mind that, you know, when you see that, you can almost look at that as like a mod indicator, because it does kind of register with your voice. So excuse me. That's pretty much it, though. You can just check the receiver on this. I'm sure it'll be fantastic. If I had the option to put up a 10, I mean I could, everybody has the option, but if I put up a 10 meter repeater in my area, or let's say somebody else did, this would be a perfect radio to use on a 10 meter repeater. It's very easily used for 10 meter FM with CTCSS, or however, you know, if they set the repeater up for something like that, that would be awesome. But unfortunately there's no 10 meter repeaters that I'm aware of in my whole state, which is a shame. But if you lived in a state where they have 10 meter repeaters, I mean, you could just buy this and use it the way it is, and it's going to work great for that. It would be a great radio for like a mobile or something, just to use 10 meter FM or 10 meter AM if that's all you wanted to do. And assuming that, you know, a 10 meter repeater would have a pretty nice coverage on it, I would assume, you could probably talk a long ways. So the repeaters are nice for that. Where are we at here? Up here. All right, so we're gonna lower this signal down for you. I'm assuming it's gonna be about 93. Actually, a little bit better than that. So about 94, which is really good. Pretty much you're getting the same specs as you get on the 955, just without SSB. So that's awesome. And AM 30% modulation. Okay, Steve Gmail customer, your 655 HPC is all set. So we'll get the box cover back on it, get it boxed, and be ready to ship out to you tomorrow. So appreciate the order, and just keep in mind on these, there's a protective film that covers this whole blackened area. You can see it's bubbled a little bit right there. So maybe over time or something, depending on what you feel, when you receive the radio, it may start to peel or something. You might want to pull it off if it starts to look bad or something. Just be careful once it's off, because you know, you could scratch the front or something. But some people take better care of their radios than others. Some people use a radio and don't really care if it does get scratched up. Everybody has a different option on how they want to take care of their equipment. So I just like to let people know that there is a protector on here. 73.